Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is John and this is your Modern Tech Breakdown. Today I'm going to break down the latest statements from the CEO of Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, about the need for open source AI. Let's jump into it. Here we have an article from the New York Times. Let's get into the read. In an open letter on Tuesday, Mark Zuckerberg, the chief executive of Meta, reinforced what some said was a risky stance taken by his company, that open source development of artificial intelligence would allow technologists to learn how powerful AI models are created and use that knowledge to build their own AI programs. Okay, first off, this isn't a risky decision. Meta can always go back to closed source. Would it require maybe some delicate PR work to do? Yes, but I don't really see how Meta's open source approach is, quote, risky. But let's scroll down a little bit and keep reading. Open source will ensure that more people around the world have access to the benefits and opportunity of AI, that power isn't concentrated in the hands of a small number of companies, and that technology can be deployed more evenly and safely across society, Mr. Zuckerberg said. Okay, so Zuckerberg here is making what I think is a disingenuous claim. Zuckerberg does not care one bit about the concentration of AI into the hands of a few companies if his company, Meta, is one of them. This is exactly the tack that Google took with mobile. They were afraid that one company, Apple in this case, would dominate the mobile market, and Google was much smaller than it is today. So they supported the, at the time, Android open source project as a way to counter Apple's iPhone. When you're smaller and behind, you can use the open source community as a means of competing with your larger, better funded rivals. Unfortunately, companies that pursue this open source strategy sometimes end up taking the project closed source. A few examples of this are Android, MySQL, perhaps only partially for MySQL, VirtualBox, MongoDB, Redis. And also, if you remember, the original Twitter approach was to have an open API, and there's all kinds of Twitter apps now. There's only the official app. So kind of a pattern here where you see open source going closed source. But from here, Zuckerberg goes on to state the actual reason for Meta's effort in open source. Quote, "We must ensure that we always have access to the best technology and that we're not locking into a competitor's closed ecosystem where they can restrict what we build," he added in the letter. So Zuckerberg will probably never forget how much money his company lost when Apple killed its tracking feature in iOS. Meta's lack of control of the underlying platform, in this case iOS, was a major risk, and he's trying to avoid the same fate once again. So he's learned the lesson. This time he's trying to avoid it with the AI. But now that's about it for the strategic analysis of Zuckerberg's note. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention that at the same time, Meta released Llama 3.1, which they claim outperforms ChatGPT 4.0 on several benchmarks. Meta claims that this is the largest open source model ever and used over 16,000 NVIDIA H100 GPUs for training. Zuckerberg predicts that Meta will be the most used chatbot by the end of the year, and this will be an inflection point where AI goes open source. To me, that seems like a fairly bold prediction that I personally don't agree with, but as predictions go, who knows? Only time will tell. But with that, I'll wrap up this video on Zuckerberg's open source AI push. I hope you enjoyed watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you next time. Thank you.